Okay, so let's get one thing straight right off the bat. You can do just fine living in Korea without knowing Korean. I'd say the majority of Koreans already speak a basic level of English, and most important signs are written in both English and Korean. That said, there are several overlooked benefits that come with putting some effort into becoming proficient in Korean. In this video, I'm going to cover 10 of these benefits, which just might be enough to persuade you to start practicing Korean. Number 1. Koreans will give you more respect. If you were to travel to America without speaking English, people would openly express their disapproval. In many cases, Americans would treat it like a personal insult, whereas in Korea, people will do their best to accommodate you by using the limited English that they know in order to try to assist you, usually without placing any judgments on you whatsoever. Koreans are generally flattered when you even attempt to learn their language. You'll start receiving compliments on how good your Korean ability is after you learn even the most basic expressions like nice to meet you or where is the restroom. Learning Korean is treated like a sign of respect for the Korean culture, and Koreans are honored when you take the time to learn it. In return, you're shown greater respect. Number 2. It becomes easier to make Korean friends. Most Koreans are shy when it comes to speaking English, even among those who already speak it pretty decently. If forced into an English conversation, you'll hear Koreans preface the conversation saying, "Sorry for my poor English," completely ignoring the fact that their English is better than our Korean, and we're in Korea. When Koreans feel uncomfortable speaking English, they're less likely to invite non-Korean speakers into their social groups. Therefore, speaking Korean will make it less intimidating for Koreans to reach out to you and welcome you into their social circle without feeling uncomfortable. In other words, it will be easier to make Korean friends. Number 3. You become more self-reliant. If there's one thing that isn't too foreigner-friendly in Korea, it's handling legal documentation. As a foreign resident, you'll find yourself dealing with visa renewals, obtaining a driver's license, signing phone and housing contracts, managing bank accounts, and making tax payments. If you're renting your own place, setting up utilities like gas, electricity, and internet also fall under your responsibilities. These tasks often require sharing personal information and are typically conducted in Korean. Sure, most Koreans are pretty honest and generous and will gladly help. However, this may become burdensome to them after a while, even if they don't express it. Also, sometimes your reliable Korean friends are unavailable. So, the better your Korean language skills, the more self-reliant you can become in Korea. Number 4. Dating becomes exponentially easier. Dating in Korea mainly revolves around meeting people through others within your social circle, such as those at work, school, or church. In Korea, attempting to meet someone through cold approach tends to be seen as weird or even creepy, especially if the person you're trying to pick up doesn't speak English well. Also, dating apps like Tinder and Hinge are predominantly used by foreigners who represent a relatively small portion of the population. However, by knowing Korean, you can access Korean dating apps which are more popular among Koreans. Striking up random conversations with people on the street still might be seen as strange, but it might be better received if they understand what you're saying. Also, knowing how to speak Korean would definitely help make a good impression when you meet your Korean partner's parents. Number 5. You'll have access to better employment opportunities. If you don't know Korean, your job opportunities would pretty much be limited to construction, factory worker, scientist or technologist for those with advanced degrees, or English teacher, mostly for native English speakers. Jobs in customer service or sales are pretty much out of reach for people who aren't proficient in Korean. You'll likely find this out early on during the hiring process when you realize you don't even know enough Korean to make it through the application for employment. I've also heard rumors that foreigners are paid less than Koreans for the same positions. I haven't experienced this personally. I've actually seen the opposite, especially for English teachers. However, knowing Korean might reduce the likelihood of that occurring, especially in other professions in Korea. Number 6. You can expose mistreatment. Unfortunately, there will be times when certain individuals will use Korean to talk negatively about you to your face, assuming that you can't understand them. They can even do this with a smile on their face. This could leave you feeling helpless, especially if others always have to come to your rescue and fight your fights for you. Imagine a scenario that you're out on a date with a Korean girl, and a Korean guy comes up to you and asks your date in Korean why she's dating a foreigner, accusing her of betraying her country or some nonsense like that. If you don't understand Korean, you'd have no idea what he's saying. Conversely, if you do understand Korean, you'd be in a much better position to handle that situation. Also, knowing the language gives you the advantage of potentially surprising others by revealing your understanding at the opportune moment, catching them off guard. This aspect of language proficiency can be particularly empowering in a variety of social scenarios. Number 7. You'll develop a greater understanding of Korean culture. As is the case with all societies, there's a major link between language and culture. This is especially evident in Korean, where the language mirrors the cultural values of respect and hierarchy. In Korean, there are 7 distinct speech levels, each reflecting different degrees of respect and formality. For example, the word for hello in Korean changes based on the relationship and context. Annyeong is casual, used with friends. Annyeonghaseyo is polite, suitable for strangers and elders. And Annyeongha십니까 is very formal, appropriate for official or highly respectful settings. You can observe these different levels of respect in daily interactions among the Korean people. Additionally, Hangul, the Korean writing system, is known for its simplicity and logical structure, reflecting the cultural emphasis on logic and clarity. This writing system was designed to be easily learned and used by everyone, showcasing the democratic and logical approach of the Korean cultural mindset. So basically, by learning the Korean language, you gain insights into these cultural nuances and understandings. It allows you to perceive and appreciate the underlying values and the thought processes that shape the mindset of the Korean people, providing a deeper and more meaningful connection to the culture and its people. Number 8. You save time. Being realistic, learning Korean would take years of practice to become proficient, so it would seem counterintuitive to think that putting in the effort to learn the language could actually save time in the long run. But this is the case because using translation apps, asking for assistance, and taking the time to correct mistakes from misinformation resulting from using non-Korean sources consumes a lot more time than people think. Also, Korean becomes useful even in small amounts, and the learning occurs quicker and easier over time as you get better. After investing about 200 to 300 hours studying, you should know enough to hold simple Korean conversations. This would include basic greetings, ordering food, giving directions to taxis, asking prices, etc. Just knowing this much could save you several minutes per day, every day. Over the course of months or years, your time investment in learning Korean will have paid off. That's not to mention the exponential increase in time saved to those who continue to learn beyond this point. Number 9. You can distinguish important from spam. Unfortunately, there's a lot of spam emails and phone notifications in Korea. These include advertisements, scams, surveys, and more. And unfortunately, many important notifications are also sent through text message or email, such as certain bills, bank alerts, and government emergency notifications. Sometimes the important notices have the appearance of spam. No one has the time to translate every Korean email, and discarding everything that looks like spam runs the risk of discarding something important. It's necessary to be able to differentiate between what's important and what isn't. This is where a moderate knowledge of Korean language can prevent mistakes with potentially costly consequences. Number 10. You can access a new online world. Using sites like Google or Amazon are great for surviving in Korea, but to truly thrive, you need to master Korean apps like Naver, Coupang, and Kakao. The information in Google pertaining to Korea is limited, outdated, and often inaccurate, especially Google Maps. Amazon is comparatively expensive, and shipping to Korea takes forever. However, the Korean alternatives are faster, cheaper, more accurate, more updated, and provide many hidden gems known only to the locals. The downside is that you need to know the Korean language to use these sites and apps effectively. But if you do, you'll gain greater awareness and access to membership discounts, sales, notices, and more. You'll discover new restaurants and hotspots that were right under your nose, but you never even knew existed. So in summary, speaking Korean allows you everything from smoother communication, to access to more resources, to better networking opportunities, and a deeper understanding of the culture, all of which garner you more respect from the Korean people. So if you plan to stay in Korea for any long duration of time, it's worth learning the language. But that's just my opinion. What do you think? Is there anything I missed or anything you disagreed with? If so, let me know in the comment section. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in Korea.